All right. So my name is Yves-Gabriel Leboeuf. I'm co-founder and CEO of Flinks, a financial aggregation API. Before starting Flinks, I was working as a tech consulting for a lending company, and I got my hands on a bunch of different financial APIs, unfortunately. Soon enough, I was able to identify by asking both different companies and by the experience that I got on financial APIs that we have a big problem here about financial APIs. And that is the problem. Basically, there's a huge amount of trends around fintechs, around different software companies, open banking, payment companies, but they're all struggling to access financial data that they need. And this is why we're here. Flinks is an easy-to-use API. It's trusted by both financial institutions and fintech. It's super fast, reliable, and secure way to access your end users' financial data. Let's go over a small use case since it might be difficult to understand what we're doing. First of all, we're a back-end process, which means you guys, while using any software companies like Milo or Wealthsimple or Axio, which is a large company, you might not even see the name of Flinks. Basically, during your onboarding process or going over the different accounts that you want to link to the app, you're at some point gonna share some information that lets Flinks access a bunch of different information. In this information, we can retrieve KYC information, which is basically your full name, address, email address, all your account information, your balance verification, and your transaction, depending on what the software company needs. Some of you might ask themselves, why would some companies need that? Who needs that? Well, in fact, in just 4 months of commercialization, we already got more than 35 clients using our API, and we're able to retrieve all of these information for these companies. We got so much traction in the past 4 months, it's quite crazy. We even got inbound leads from the unicorn, which is Square, the payment company, and from the biggest company in the world, Walmart, that are trying to use our API. There's only one way that we were able to do that in the past months, and it's because we have a very strong team. We have a very good banking background. We have a business experience for the founders and some of the team members as well. And there's one thing that we believe at Flinks is that small teams can basically achieve big feats. Now, you guys might wonder how we get the money inside the company, right? Well, this is my favorite slide, of course. It's a very easy to understand business model. We charge no setup fee, which means we're very friendly with startups. We only charge per transactions, which means every time a software company tries to access financial data through our API, we charge them. It's generally contractual agreements that are very easy to understand, so you're not locked in a very complicated process. And you can basically, if you're a startup and have a struggle, turn over very rapidly. Now that we've covered all about your clients, our business model, and the team, I think something very interesting is the results that we got. Basically, we were able to go up to, we're actually on a trajectory to hit $2 million in ARR by the end of the year and to hit 12,000 requests per day through the API. And this is all from a roadmap in 2017. We basically started and incorporated the company as December 15, 2016. So we're 10 months old. We did the proof of concept and the save round early 2017. We did their product launch in June. We're now raising our seed round, and we're on a trajectory based on the current deals we're negotiating to be at 2 million ARR by the end of the year. In 2018, we're going to do a product launch. We're also planning to expand in the US, and we plan to do our Series A and go up to 12 million ARR, and that is based on the current deals we're negotiating. We're here because we're building a massive company. We have the traction, the team, and the product to go up to the goals that we've set. We're seeking top talent and investors, so if you have any interest in Flinks, just come see me after my pitch. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hi, Peter.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Good job. It's not stressful at all. Judges, who's the first? Dave.
Yep.
So I think you've got an interesting marketplace here in Canada, but it's
Yep.
condensed and it's small and it's
Yep.
it's easy to get your hands around. How do you think about expanding internationally? If you sort of think about the evolution of your marketplace, Yodlee and others sort of grew to a
Yep.
certain size and didn't have great outcomes and lots of competition.
Yep.
Feels like your technology might be better, but talk to us about sort of global domination, not just Canada.
So basically, in what we're doing right now as a financial aggregator, there's a bunch of different markets in the world that are living the same issues that we're living in Canada, right? We have a lot of traction in New Zealand, Philippines, and Australia already. So these are markets that we're looking at, but where we see a very huge amount of value is really in value-added product. Based on the past months, we were able to get our hands on a bunch of different products that are very, very interesting for financial institutions and larger corporations. So we want to work on that product and go over the United States market, which are like product different from financial aggregation, such as income calculation or data protection for financial institutions and things like that.
Great, thanks.
When you have launched your product, what was the reaction of the financial institution and mostly banks?
Well, we did not expect what we're living now, because we expected the financial institutions to be maybe a bit mad about the product that we're launching. We in fact got reached out by RBC back in February, and he wanted to have more information. But now, what we're experiencing is quite different. We have a lot of traction from financial institutions, and going into the product and the roadmap that we're going, we found out that financial institutions in Canada are the biggest potential customers for us. In fact, most of them are using financial aggregators to access financial data for their clients. Yeah. So that's the reaction. Yeah.
Can you comment on your revenue model? 160 per connection. Is there any volume discount coming up, or do you find some pressure right now?
Yeah. So we do have volume discount. Most of the time, what we do is that, an example, if you're a client and you have a good volume, we're going to lower the price per connection, but we're going to increase the monthly minimum. So basically, if you guarantee me that you're going to bring 10,000 per month, I could lower the price per transaction to 60 cents. Yeah.
And actually, these transactions, are they more B2B transaction at this point in your model, or?
We have B2B and B2C. We're most of the time B2B2C because we're powering the software. Yeah. I would say right now maybe 70% of the traffic is B2B2C, not B2B2B.
Okay.
Yeah.
B2B2B.
I have a contract ready if you want to sign. The deal is.
Bravo.
To what extent can you replicate your model in Europe? So in Canada, do you get traction because you're first mover, or there's little limited competition? And if you arrive in Europe, can you actually sustain that, or?
Well, the thing is, in Europe, it's quite particular. I could talk about it for maybe the next 45 minutes. But there's the PSD2 program that is coming up. So a company like us, most of the time, what we would do in Europe is go and see the financial institutions and work with them to enable their PSD2 program, right? The other thing with the PSD2 is that they are only making a bunch of information accessible. They're not letting you access, an example, the saving account, the credit card account. They're not mandatory to do that, right? So we were at the learning expedition of EFMA 2 weeks ago. I was a guest speaker there. And a thing we discussed with Europe banks is how they need financial aggregators because they're not opening up everything, right? So if you're Mint and you're a budgeting app, well, your consumers need to connect their saving credit cards account, right? So at the end of the day, you still need a financial aggregator. But we're trying to work very closely with the financial institutions. And I think for us, it's a huge opportunity to power the API of financial institutions, such as in a potentially Europe model. Yeah.
Thank you, Flinks.
Thank you.